deserve like some kind of like, recognition when we pass away. So if I wouldn't have done that, she wouldn't have had anything. So I had to take care of that for her.
Definitely. So how
That
you feel
kind
coming into today?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready to get back on track and, be completely present and ready to take in all this. Yeah. And then I saw you said our mentorship is going to end soon. I'm like, okay, I hope we don't just leave me, please. Don't just leave me. But I need to be, feeling confident. And I know I only did 4 months. I don't know if I might need longer than that or not. I guess you'll know or we'll see. What do you think?
Let's just see. It's up to you and your presence. So you just have to be 100% sure with yourself. But I do have people in front of you. So you'll know at the end if you need more time or, you know, you'll just let me know.
What do you mean in front of me? Like in the same situation or
Like,
moving,
yeah, other people who want to move forward.
like the 4 months? I mean, the extra 2 months.
Right.
They don't want to stop.
I have a wait list. Hmm.
And does that happen with a lot of
So
people? Or some people want to keep going. Most people probably want to keep going, right?
some people do, but some people get their remedy and keep, and and move on. But some of my deluxe keep going. So it just depends on really how my deluxe move, how everybody else is able to move up.
Some people just don't want to leave you, huh?
No, but
They
sometimes
don't.
I'm making though.
Well, we want you
So
attached to our hip, okay, from this point forward. Okay, we need you for like at least a year. So
no, that's not the point. You're supposed to
huh?
do it yourself.
But
I
people need that
overstand.
confidence. Like I said, this is definitely it's exciting and it's kind of like I won't say intimidating, but it's just like the unknown. You know what I mean? Like you're working towards something and then you're like, okay, after you go through like basically like school, and then you finally get to graduate and it's like, dang, I'm about to actually get that diploma after all that work. You know what I'm saying? And it's exciting and
But
it's
see,
kind of like,
that's when you take the time to go back and review our sessions so that you
mm-hmm.
are making sure you present, so that you're getting it. So that's why I tell people like they don't really be ready to move on. They just don't be wanting to stop talking to me. But it's like all y'all gotta do is review, and then y'all will know if y'all really need me or not.
This is
But
like
I
a
over
this is a common thing that happens with when you get towards the end with people.
all the time, and then they find out later like, okay, I am fine. Like, yes, I know.
But you
Told
don't
you.
like to lead them. You keep in touch with everybody, right? I know it's not like okay, it's over, it's done, right? You
Yeah,
guys
no,
keep in
I'm always
touch.
respect. Yeah, yeah, they follow my social media. A lot of them in my groups. Yeah, they be
So how
around.
are you been doing with since your break? Did you get the break you needed? Do you feel
Woo! Yes, I did. I feel good. Look,
did you have a
ready.
good birthday? Was your birthday good with your family?
Yes, it was great. It was a good balance of fun and chill, and time
Okay.
just to recoup and get everything and everybody in order. So yeah, I definitely had enough time. It was definitely needed for everybody.
You
Everybody
need at
needed a
least
break.
you knew you needed and was able to do it, you
Yeah, for
recognize
sure.
for what like you say, the social media. I haven't really been on social media that much. I did get on there like yesterday. I did see your little story about whatever somebody did to one of your posts, which is freaking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's why I don't trust people. I don't deal with people. I don't even want to deal with the public at all. Like I don't. I just deal with who I'm dealing with. But it's like I know people need my help too, but it's still limited. So I still don't deal with the public. My mentees normally end up teaching, so I don't have to even worry about those people. My mentees normally come behind me and grab them.
Girl. And you just take who you want, basically, or what? Or
Yep.
how do you usually get people somebody like refers or like the way I
Yep.
came,
People
they hear
refer normally,
or they'll
so I
hear
just
you?
open up to the public sometimes just to give them a chance to get in. But
It's
when
too
I
much
can,
scam and stuff going on, and people don't know who they can trust, and it's really unfortunate.
yes, that's really fucked up. I don't even know how those people are able to sleep at night. I really don't, and it's just crazy. It's insane. But
They
I
don't
mean, I guess
understand
if
it,
I can
obviously,
pay,
because they just want to take the people's money, and they don't understand, like you say, about this money is not even really, you know, they just want to take the money. They probably
yeah.
don't even know it themselves, obviously, right?
Right, obviously. It's ridiculous. It's really sad. It really is. But it's just that's what people, the measures people go to.
And there's nothing you can do. So just at least you got some
Stay out
good
the way.
people.
That's it.
And this everybody's
Stay
not gonna grasp it. Everybody's not gonna grasp this anyway. So, this is the like you said, you gotta go back and read and review. People are lazy, they don't want to do it. So that's the bottom line. So, but I do, I'm here.
Like I'm definitely not stressing out about them. Like
Nope,
they don't push everybody.
nope. It's a shame though too. Our people, and it just hurts. All that fake information. He gonna put your stuff on there, don't even know what the heck is
I
going
swear,
on.
they
That
talking
is
about tax forms and all type of stuff. I'm like, sir,
what
no.
did you
Like
think when you saw that? What did you say? What did you say?
I'm
Like,
really honestly used to it. I'm
are
really used
you?
to it. I just almost never say anything. I just kind of, let it go. But as of lately, it's just been so repetitive. And that was just the last thing that just did it. Like, I'm
Oh,
saying
so I haven't been on, so I haven't been really. So they're just so basically they'll take your like successes of your students and act like it's theirs, pretty much,
now.
to get people to be like, oh yeah, let me sign up, let me sign up.
Yes.
Okay,
And people be signing up. It's crazy.
okay, so they're not. God will get every when people do that. God gets them one way or the other, so He'll get them. He will take care of them.
Definitely will. That's why I let it be. Literally.
Exactly. Don't even waste your energy tripping on Him.
Mhm. So today we're gonna pick back up where we left off, and we still looking at the Uniform Commercial Code. Left off in Article 1. So we are in the
Okay.
very beginning speaking about transactions. We have been over bold and conspicuous things like the title, different parts, and we went through a couple of these subsections. The last subsection that we left off the last time we were here, we were looking into part 3, where we're talking about the territorial applicability and the general rules that is surrounding the presumptions that is made whenever we're dealing with security interests, whenever we're leasing, and whenever we're receiving these notices. We left off talking about 1-303, speaking about course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade. What do you remember about that? What can you tell me about the course of performance, course of dealing, and the usage of trade?
What do I remember?
Yes, what can you
I
tell me about
remember. I remember when we were speaking. Something that stuck out with me is when you do your performance and everybody is all in agreement, it turns into another name. I don't know if you said it was a draft or something like that. I remember
So
I asked
just
you about.
strictly speaking about the course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade, what can you tell me about that from the last time we left off?
Okay, hold on.
The
The
course of
parties of power.
performance, the course of dealing, and the usage of trade. When it comes to the general rules around you receiving your notices and using them, what do you remember
The general rules.
about the course of performance, the course of dealing, and trade? What can you tell me about those three and the rules that surround it? This is the last thing that we left off on the last time. If you don't know, I could just start, and pick back up there.
No, let me just say, I gotta just go back in my brain a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
I ain't rushing you. I'm that
My
type too. I be
brain.
wanting a minute to think.
Wait a minute, hold on, wait to grab my thoughts a second. I actually was sleeping when you called. I said, let me get up and go. I went back to sleep and I said, I'm gonna get up. I don't care. Okay, so I know we were talking about the course of we were talking about bold and conspicuous. Was that part of it? How it has to be bold and conspicuous on the it'll always be like that in the agreement or on the actual document.
No,
Um
right now, I only want to know
okay, I'm going
what
back. I'm sorry.
some about the course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade because that's where we left off the last time. What do you remember about the course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade?
The performance on our part or everybody's part, all three parties.
Just in general, what do you know and what do you remember about the course of performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade that we covered the last time we were together?
Okay, so I know in order for us to the performance when we completely fill out the document and then it goes on over to the bank, goes to the bank in the proper format for the bank to be able to send it over to the other the other countries. I don't know if that's not sounding right or not. Maybe you might want to go back
Okay.
if I sound a little bit like I don't remember exactly how deep we were talking about it.
How good can you see my screen? Is this better?
It's full screen. Yes, 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 yes,
Okay,
yes, yes,
good.
yes,
I
yes,
had to
yes.
blow it up a little bit. It was kind of, it's gonna go back, but I just keep blowing it up. But
Yeah,
long as
it's
you,
better.
okay. So this is where we left off at the last time, and we're going to pick back up here so that you begin to be present in this moment, not on your note sheet of paper, not taking notes, right here in
Right.
this moment, using your eyes and what you see on the screen so that you never forget it. If you forget
Okay.
this, you are not ready to move on. If you cannot remember and grasp and understand Article 1, you are not ready to move on because that means that you're not ready to transact with anybody.
Okay.
This article is very important. This is the beginning. Without grasping the beginning, you cannot move on to Article 2. I mean, we're going to move on, but you won't be ready
Mm-mm.
for Article 2. So 1-303, like you said before, we do want to continue to look at things that are bold and conspicuous because it's going to give us our genuine or summary about what we're about to be reading and what we're about to get into. So just looking at things
Mm-hmm.
that are bold and conspicuous, we start off with the title, the course of performance, the course of dealing, and the usage of trade. So now we know of three different things that they're going to be speaking to us about when it comes to us transacting. So know that the one right here lets us know that we're in Article 1. And
Mm-hmm.
Article 1 is talking about transactions. So this is what we're learning about. So when you think about in general transactions, you want to think about when you walk into a dealership, when you filling out a
Mm-hmm.
piece of paper, when you give it back to them, when they give it back
Mm-hmm.
to you, when they use it further. This is all transacting. Anytime that you leave your principal place of business, like your home, and you go out into
Mm-hmm.
the public, you're transacting, especially if you're transacting for something that's for your personal, family, or household purpose. So right here, they want to let us know of three different things that is involved with us transacting with other persons. Conspicuously, we see um, A through a few different letters. Then we see agreement, party, record, agreement, agreement,
Mm-hmm.
section 2-209, which is speaking to you about sales. So if you cannot grasp this, then you will not be subject to Article 2 at all. You would not move on from transaction.
So you're talking about agreements, the transaction is the main thing, and then the agreements, and then the party and the record, all those things are what make that happen,
All of
pretty
these
much.
yeah, exactly, this is all of the
Mm-hmm.
things that are involved in or with the title, and the title is the course of your performance, dealing, or
Okay.
trade. So how you feeling? What's your thoughts about that just in general and the conspicuous bold to get that idea? How you feeling? What's your
Yeah,
thoughts? You
it's
being present.
it's getting you prepared to start the transaction and do all the things that are involved in it. So I think you need to start once you start looking, like you say, it's bold and conspicuous, so you know it's obviously related to the course of performance. So it seems like those are the elements in that course of performance. Okay, we go into the dealership, we got an agreement, it's me and it's the dealership, and we're going to deal with this document and it's going to move on to a trade. But I don't know if when you, so you're saying from this point forward, when you walk into obviously any transaction, that's what you need to be knowing in your mind that this is what's happening.
Period.
That's what this is. That's what.
100% yes. And this is the rule that is surrounding it because you want to look at the number three. And the number three lets us know what section we're in. We're in Article 1, where they speak about the transactions, and we
Mhm.
are in Part 3. And in Part 3 is where they give us the territory, applicability, and the general rules. So, yes, they are giving you the
Mm. Mhm.
rules surrounding around when you perform, deal, and trade. So, it doesn't matter What
Mm-hmm.
you may know or what they may know or whoever may know, this
Mm-hmm.
is what happens when you transact. This takes you back to still this same Article 1 where they define notice and knowledge, where they let you know is whether you know
Mm-hmm.
it or not, this is
Mm-hmm.
happening.
So when you go into a dealership now with the knowledge that you have, you go in there like
Regular.
knowing you go in there, you don't go in there like like you know all these things are gonna go in there and happen, but do you go in there say anything different now, or you just go in there like you said regular or what?
Go in there regular and I look forward to the payments. Just like they looking
Okay.
forward to me coming in there and giving them a payment.
So you don't go in there getting in all this kind of stuff when you go in there, you just go in there do the transaction and you're out.
Handle my business. And they're gonna handle their business. And that's what they are explaining right here in this section. What each person is going to do in the course of their business
Mm,
when they perform,
mm,
deal with the document and trade it.
mm. So you don't have
Like
nothing to do with no trading it. That's not even mentioned. You just go in there, do your paperwork the proper way, and leave with your
yep,
vehicle. And
just like
then,
everybody else. Yeah, I promise.
but you just need to be knowledgeable as of what's going to happen after
You be
you.
knowledgeable as to why you walked in there and you conducted that transaction. I know that I conducted this transaction for me to perform to this contract that I just created to deal with this good. I don't need them to tell me that. They can't tell me that. The seller gives me no warranties. I'm a buyer.
Mm-hmm,
So I go in there knowing or being knowledgeable as to why I'm creating this contract with them and financing,
mm-hmm,
why there's a bank involved, why we're dealing with credit. I go there with that knowledge. You should go any place with that knowledge whenever you decide to create a contract with another person, because this is commerce. This is what happens when you transact, no matter who is with. This is the general rule and the applicability to the territory in which you create your agreements with another party. You follow me?
mm-hmm. I'm looking at it. Had to wake my
So,
brain back up. Wake my brain back up. That's all.
so A, of course, the performance. It is a sequence of conduct between the parties to a particular transaction that exists. Whenever you receive your bill in the mail, this is an existing account for a particular transaction.
Mm-hmm,
If two things: one, the agreement of the parties with respects to the transaction, it involves repeated occasions for performance by a party. So the party who we entered or who we created this contract with, it calls for repeated performance by them repeatedly based on the schedule. They're going to be sending you
mm-hmm,
payment. This is a regular conduct, sequence of conduct. So we can check number
mm-hmm,
one off the box. So if that's happening, then we're receiving a notice for a particular reason so far so that we can perform. And two, the other party, which will be you with
mm-hmm,
knowledge, and another person with knowledge of the nature of their performance and the opportunity for objection to it, accepts the performance or acquiescence in it without objection. So you have the option to move with knowledge and be knowledgeable about the nature of your performance whenever you
mm-hmm,
receive this good, this notice. And you
mm-hmm.
also have the knowledge to know that you have the opportunity to object to using it. You do not have to use it. So many people get their notices, their bills, and they do not use it. They do not perform with them. You don't have to. You may not have the knowledge. If you do
They're
have the knowledge, then
telling
you will be accepting it and you will be performing. You'll be doing that without objection to it. You're not going to object to using the good because you, as the other party, has knowledge of the performance that you must conduct whenever you receive an agreement from another party for a particular transaction. So each time we perform, it's for a particular transaction for those who have knowledge of the
you.
nature
Mm-hmm.
of the performance of creating that contract.
They tell you right there, don't they?
Yes,
Oh my
first paragraph.
God.
That's A. That's the first
Oh.
thing they say.
So it's basically like you either have the knowledge, you can go ahead and do it if you know how to do it, or you can just go ahead and do like you've been doing all your life,
All
basically.
your
That's
life.
what it's saying, basically, right?
Yeah, and this is where you really get that from. You get that they're truly, truly saying that here in part two. But they start to speak about your
Dang.
interpretation of that. They start to speak about that in notice and knowledge, where they let you know is whether you have actual, knowledge of it or not, whether you have actual reason to know of it or not, whether you know of it or not. Like, period.
Damn.
It's something that we are doing, and we are communicating such communications with another person by using receipts. That's what
Yeah.
Article 2 is about. So if you cannot grasp Article 1, you will not be able to utilize these receipts to transact with another person.
I'm gonna grasp it. Don't worry about that. I'm grasping.
Well, just in general, not
I'm
not just you,
grasping
but just
on it.
just in general.
I'm grasping this because shoot, but they basically broke it. Like I said, without just like reading through this UCC and not having like you to kind of like break it down like a teacher does. It'll be much more difficult, because a lot of these words would just probably fly over my head, or I have to keep, you know what I'm saying, read back and back and back, but you're breaking it
And you
down.
do, and that's the thing. You do keep reading it over. You read it about 3, 4, 5, 6 times to be
Mm-hmm.
present in a moment, to look at words that truly matter, like respect. Conduct. Whenever you see respect, you know that
Mm-hmm.
you're doing something. You have conduct. Be present and look at words like repeat it. You're going to be doing it often. You don't have to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do I have to do this? You're doing it often. And then you have to do it with knowledge. So you have to just be present. That's why I keep telling people that. Be present. Look at every word.
Every
Understand what you
word.
see.
'Cause once you see it
Yep, it
once, like,
truly will.
once the way we just did that, broke that down, just I'll never forget that. You know what I mean?
Good.
Just that would no, just the other party with knowledge of the nature of the performance for, opportunity to accept it or reject or object it. That's crazy.
Object to it. Yeah. So understand
Damn.
that they're never going to give you something like this that's serious and not continue to tell you more. So they give you
Mm-hmm.
point B. So let's continue, since you remember that. I want you to remember and connect it to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So B,
Okay.
a course of dealing. A course of dealings is a sequence, just like your performance will be. It's a sequence
Mm-hmm.
of conduct, just like your performance will be, of a previous transactions, like the one where the other party gave you that notice. One that is the previous transactions between parties to a particular transaction that is fairly to be regarded as establishing a common basis of understanding for interpreting their expressions or other conduct. So if you don't interpret, just like we went back to with knowledge, that you are supposed to utilize your notices when you receive them, you're never going to be able to express yourself. That means that your conduct is
Mm-mm.
going to be a one to objecting it. If not,
Always.
then you don't have basic understanding or common understanding. You have knowledge. That means that you know of a
Mm-hmm.
particular transaction in which you are fairly regarded in, that you should make sure that your conduct should be involved with you dealing with it, for the sake of a previous transaction where you created a contract and then
Mm-hmm.
one where you received a payment from it. Your conduct should be one in expressing yourself by way of your interpretation to pay. And that's exactly
So
what they'll do too.
so A is like, okay, we created the agreement, right?
Okay.
So A is like
Yeah.
I created the agreement, I opened up the account, and then now it's like, okay, I've opened an account, so I either know how I can object or not object to the way I perform, pretty
Right.
much, right?
Right.
So
You
that's the
either know how
beginning of
you're going to
it.
deal with that good and establish it, or you won't. You will have common basis of understanding on how to establish the good, or you'll have actual knowledge. Either way, they're saying it's fairly regarded. So each and every time you receive your bill, that's your opportunity. Your opportunity
Hmm.
to accept it or reject it. But either way, you're going to receive the notice. So it's fairly regarded, whether you know it or not.
So where they said, let's say we're saying, okay, particular transaction is fairly to be regard establishing a common basis of understanding. So
Mm-hmm.
whether and then for interpreting their expression, is that what they mean? You express yourself on it? Is that when you're talking about when you express yourself on the document?
Exactly. That's your conduct. That's your performance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Expressions.
I don't know what everybody want to talk about. I don't know what everybody want to say. I don't know what everybody or how everybody want to express their self. But there's only one way to express yourself in the course of performance, and
And
that's
they're
about
telling you right there,
transactions.
is that what they're telling you right there, right?
Yes,
Establishing a
they are.
common basis of understanding. Right there,
One
I'm
hundred
reading this
percent.
thing away my whole words. Establishing a common basis of understanding for interpreting their expression and other conduct. But like I said, when you look at expressions, if I was reading this by myself, thank God for you, I'll be sitting up here like expressions of what, like expressions and other conduct. That doesn't sound like um um
Why not when you know you're transacting?
now I
What
know
are you
now, but
thinking
now
of?
just normally when you talk about expressions and other conduct, you would think, okay, that would be the way I'm gonna either just like sign my name or fill in the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like you say,
Exactly.
it's not broken, it's not written out like that. You know
But
what
in
I'm
your
saying?
agreement, it will be.
They're gonna say what expressions and conduct means. They're gonna tell you expressions
Yes,
equals okay.
because they're transacting with you. They're telling you the sequence for the conduct that they expect for you to do. Right
Hmm.
here, this is law. This is them telling you what they agreed to. So I'll let you read C since I hear that you like to read it too. And reading it out loud. No, seriously, because reading it out loud too, it will help you and it's definitely good practice. And it's also good practice for you to read too. So I feel like we are further along in enough for now you to understand that being present and looking at each thing and that they're telling you what you need, it counts. So just go ahead and read it out loud. Stop where you think you should stop. Remember that whenever you get to words like and, you want to stop so that you see what was said previously.
Okay.
When you get to words like or, you want to stop so that you can see your options, see what was said previously, see what's said next. That way you can begin to place things in certain order. When you see
Okay.
commas, you want to stop. When you get to words that are put together, I'm not sure if they have something like that here yet, but just so that you know, when you see words that are put together, you want to stop as well. So it'll be some instances where they'll have, let's just say, dealing and having put together. Whenever you see words like with no spaces, you want to pay
Hmm.
attention.
Okay. So let me start with a D.
Yep. See. No, actually, see.
Okay, see, okay, see. Okay, a usage of trade is any practice or method of dealing having such regularity of observance in a place, vocation, or trade as to justify an expectation that will be observed with respect to the transaction in question.
Where do you think you should have stopped at?
Okay, or wait a minute, let me go back. A use of trade
Or better
is,
yet, before you do that, reading
oh,
it the way that you read it, what did you take from it? Tell me
that's what
what you got.
that's why I'm going back.
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even know what else. Hey, man, hold it. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, because uses of trade, I'm thinking like trade, like we're talking about trading, from place to place or, person to person. So let me see if it even makes any kind of, okay. A use of the trade is any practice or method of dealing, having such regularity of observance in a place, vocation, or trade as to justify an expectation that will be observed with a respect to the transaction in question. So that sounds totally like I don't even understand what that means.
Okay, that's absolutely fine.
You know what
That's
I mean? I just told you what I thought trade would be like, from one hand to the next. And if I'm saying that in all this different way, then I need to figure, but I'm thinking
so
you should,
that's I want you to be transparent like that. I need you to be
gosh,
transparent like so that I can help you.
yeah, I don't
And you want
understand
to
that.
be present. You want to stay in the moment and think about what we've been talking about, your goal, what it is that you want to do. We're looking at Article 1 talking about transactions because you want to utilize your statement. And here they're letting you know in order to utilize your statement and transact with another person, it's involving the course of performance, dealing, and trade. So as you perform with this document and you deal with it and you give it to another person and they fairly regard using that document, they're going to be using that document in trade. So part
Mm-hmm.
C is speaking to you about the usage of trade. You want
Mm-hmm.
to stop at the very first or that you see. And when they begin to break down part C, they talk about a usage of trade is any practice. You want to use your billing statement and you have an agreement with another person to
Mm-hmm.
further this good along, to deal with
Mm-hmm.
it. This is the reason why you created the contract with them in the beginning that we were speaking about. So as
Mm-hmm.
you're reading here from this point forward, every single thing that you read is directed to you wanting to use your bill and your statement. Everything, especially when we get into Article 2. That's always your mindset. That's
Mm-hmm.
always your base. That's always your core. Using that document. That
Okay.
document, that bill, that statement that you have, they want to be able to use it in trade by its nature for a particular transaction, as we read about in dealing and performance. So, usage of trade is any practice or a method of
Mm-hmm.
dealing, having such regularly observance of any place, of occasion, or a trade as to justify an expectation that it will be observed. Each and every time you receive your billing statement, there's an expectation that you're going to observe this document. You are observing this document to see
Mm-hmm.
how it is regularly traded. What is the practice and the method that is involved, the conduct in the way that you should be expressing yourself? You should have that type of mindset and show that
Mm-hmm.
type of respect each and every time you enter into a transaction. So each and
Mm-hmm.
every time you receive your bill in the mail and another person is transacting with you, you should question it.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime anybody transacts with you, you should question it. At the point of you creating a contract already and receiving your payment later in the mail, future, your bill, your statement, question it. What you're questioning is the price. Just like you told me above, you're either going to be performing with your numbers or your signature. You're questioning the numbers. You're going to show
Mm-hmm.
respect to a certain transaction, to a particular transaction that is
Mm-hmm.
caused for that statement to be used by a certain nature in trade.
Mm-hmm. So I really need to be looking at this every time. So I really, like you said, I got to change completely my mindset about these papers. That said, these
Yeah.
documents. This is not like I usually pick these things up, or like I'm still doing picking them up and just paying them by the due date or whatever. It's not even about the way I've been doing this. It's about now looking at it, like you say, going back to this A being A, like, okay, I'm in an agreement, I'm past that, right? From that point forward, it's like B, course of dealings, right? I'm either going to have the knowledge to do this the proper way or not, right? So I
Yes.
know that that's what I'm
Yes.
doing. So now, right, I need to just think in my mind, this is me even just, like you say, inspecting the numbers and putting the information on there that way is being traded. That's the whole purpose of this whole agreement.
Whole nature of
And I don't know. Okay, so I didn't even ever think of it like that. So the whole reason but you don't think that when you're open, like you say, people just want the car, the house,
the
the
house, the
credit
car,
card.
right?
They don't
The
even think about,
phone,
okay, this is,
right?
but really, so this is a whole different mindset. This is really, okay, so you're entering into commerce and trade from day one. Like that's the whole purpose of this
They want.
agreement, right?
Yep. 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 So
Ooh.
read the next part. Read the next part.
Okay, so you just trade it in, okay, wait a minute. See, okay,
We
you
stop
said.
right here at question.
Okay, question. Okay.
So read the next.
So we said, when let me just say what we said, we observed it, right, with respect to that particular transaction, which would be that particular statement, right? Is that what that's saying?
Yeah.
With respect to the
Mm-hmm.
transaction in question that month. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
the existence and scope of such usage must be proved as facts. The
What
existence
did
and
they
scope.
just say?
The existence and scope of such users must be proved as fact. The existence of scope. The existence and scope of such usage must be proved as facts. So what? Hold on. The existence and scope of such usage must be proved as facts.
Think about what you just read previously, where they were talking about a particular transaction that is in question. That
Right.
transaction that is in question must
Be okay, proved as fact. So that has to be accurate,
exactly
accurate
100%. The
information on
existence
in scope of usage must be proved as fact. Must be proved as facts what? Proved as fact that that information on that is correct for that month? Or
that and you must use the fact. When you come to notice and knowledge and you have actual knowledge, they said that you are establishing what? Establishing what? The fact. You either have common understanding, basic understanding to do that, or you have actual knowledge. So whenever you decide to express yourself and
mhm.
interpret the use of that document by a certain conduct, the conduct that you have while you're using a good that is existing, the scope of it must be proved as facts. The scope, everything on it, the amount that you write on there must be proved as a fact.
Mhm.
The fact is
Mhm.
what you must use that is existing, that you're going to be bringing to existence. If you use the facts, you have no choice. It must be proved by facts. So if it is not facts, it is invalid.
Okay, so wait. So what? Okay, so we're saying must be proved as facts. What do you mean facts? Like the numbers need to be accurate? The facts? Is
Yes.
that what you're saying? The
Yes,
existence
the
and
number
scope
has
of
to be accurate and your fact has to be established. Your notice has to be established.
the existence and scope of such usage must be proved as facts. Which number are you talking about? The one when it comes to you or the way it comes, or when you do what you do to it?
Both.
Okay. Okay.
They said the scope, everything about it. If
Oh, okay,
everything
the
about it was
scope.
already facts, then you would have no questions about it.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay, the scope of
Yeah,
it.
everything, everything.
Oh,
That's the
see?
only way that that existing
Oh,
account will be able to come into existence. It's
this,
only if it is proved by facts. So you can assume. They let us know that in part two. We don't assume anything. We presume with facts only. If it's not pre and proved by facts that you're entering into a particular transaction for trade, then guess what? You are not entering into a particular transaction for trade, and they're going to object to it. Must be proven by facts. That means that you don't have common understanding. You have knowledge. You have
mm,
knowledge of the way you are
mm.
supposed to perform and deal with this good to establish that fact. If you don't, then you don't have any respect.
So we got
I mean, you're not.
common understanding versus knowledge,
Yep.
basically, right? So
Yep.
one or the other.
Yep.
So these words are important. So the scope is like you say, is the whole thing from like everything, like from what they sent you to what you send them back. Is that what you're saying? In the
Yep.
proper way?
Anytime we deal with the document,
Okay, well,
read the
it's good
next
we're
part.
reading this because, like I said, normal reading, just to read this like I was just reading it and just keeping on reading it and not going back is like, okay, I'm
You
missing some
must
things.
go
You know
back.
what I mean?
I overstand. So a lot of people missing a lot of things, and that's why I stress being present, looking at what you see, truly,
But even
genuinely.
when I just read the existence and scope of such a usage must be proved as facts. This is not normal language. This is not normal. This is not normal language for the average person to understand.
You got to
And
think about it. What are you using?
what do you mean? My
What
brain?
are you
I'm just
using?
like so confused. I'm
You're
supposed to be
using your
using that.
bill, you're using your agreements, you're
Right,
using your
right.
contract. So whenever you use it, it must be used by facts. That means, just like you said before, it must be accurate. It must be fair.
This is crazy, man. Every time I keep going, I say this like every time. We go back and listen to all the times I keep saying this is crazy because this is like
Wait till we get to the agreements. You're gonna see it.
So this is like basically coming into, so basically your whole mind shit has to be changed. There's no way of
Has
looking at
to.
this. If you want to do this, you cannot look at this the way you were looking at this before. This
And
is
that's
not
why
the way I looked at this.
I know, because of previous trainings,
And
previous
I'm
or
still
whatever.
doing it. I'm
You know,
still doing it right now.
gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. That's why we spend time in volumes one and volumes two, so that you begin to let it go. I let you know in the beginning before we even started. Whatever you think, whatever you thought, let it go. And it's for the reasons of that post you saw on my Instagram. Whatever you taught or was taught previous, to me, it may have been wrong. I don't want to say anybody is wrong. I don't know them. I don't know what you was taught. I don't know where you've been or none of that. I don't know. It may have been wrong. So I'm going to teach you what I overstand, understand, and have knowledge to know is correct. You can choose between the two afterwards, but be present and let that go. If you
So
can,
right,
I know it's hard because some people is unlearning stuff that they thought that they were relearning. I get it. That's why I give everybody a recording, but you gotta let it go. This is
okay, so
completely
right now I need to, but I'm still in the process of doing this the only way. So I guess I need to know when I'm making these payments now, if you said it was either with common understanding versus knowledge, right? So I'm still doing this with common understanding.
yep.
Is that what I'm still doing? Because I'm still doing what I've been doing,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So
Hmm.
what does that mean? I have a
That
common
means
under,
that means that just like what they told us previously,
because
it
I'm
means that you
starting to
need to
get the
learn.
knowledge of it, but I'm just saying I'm still going on as normal because nothing, I'm
It means
still.
that you need to learn, you need to discover, you need to have knowledge of those things that are in question at the time they are in question for a particular transaction. So you have to learn, you have to keep
Actual
discovering,
knowledge.
you have to keep reading.
But I'm just saying, since I'm still going on and paying these things on the road, I know now that what I'm doing is they either you said knowing and having knowledge are two different things, right?
Hmm.
So that's what's going on with me. But now I just have to get my head together with this completely. This is just like you cannot go into this like you used to. This is like for trade. That's all this is about, right? This
That's
is
it.
for
To me,
that's it. There's no other act.
that's
That's what
my end
you
goal. That's their
uh,
end goal. That's what they hope.
but
That's
I'm
what
not
everybody.
right. So that's the point they even established these agreements in the beginning. That's the ultimate goal. But they don't really, like you say, it's written in here, but it's not like you don't go in there really having that kind of head. But from this point forward, I have to
It's
just
written in the agreement, so you don't have to go in there having that kind of hat because the agreement that you signed already got the hat for you. Because that agreement that you signed, it must be according to commercial standards. It must be according to this right here that we're reading. So you don't have to go in there and do any of that. They already did it in their conduct. You just have to be the other party to come along with actual knowledge and have respect to a transaction and keep having respect to them talking transactions. If they give you what you want, you should do it
okay,
with knowledge.
got it, got it. This is trade. That's what you've been saying all along. It's for trade, trade. Gotta keep
So
it.
go ahead and read next.
Okay, where we at? Where do we leave off?
I
The
highlighted it.
okay. So if it is established. If it is established that such a usage is embodied in a trade code or similar code, the interpretation of the record is a question of law. So they're saying that if it's going to be used in trade, right, then it
Mhm.
becomes law.
Yes, it is law. You're going to see in your agreements, they're going to ask you, can we please do things lawfully? I do not want to do things unlawfully. Please, let's do it lawfully. If you do things lawfully, then your conduct is going to be you coming along, receiving these records and questioning it and encoding that record so that it can be used in trade. You're going to be expressing yourself within it, showing that you accept the performance and you overstand and you have the knowledge of the actual nature of its usage. They hope
So when
that you
you
do this
just so
each
when
and
you just
every
said
time.
when you just said that when you get this and you're questioning it, what do you mean? What questioning it. What do you mean when you say that?
What are you questioning? What is wrong with your bill? What are you adding?
Oh, okay, it's blank. It's not complete. So when you say questioning it though, you mean like explain what you mean. You say you're questioning it. You're going to complete.
If the balance is correct.
Okay.
You're, you're questioning if it is correct. The way you question or when you question and if it's correct, your interpretation should be like what we previously read, to have the knowledge to know that that notice that you receive is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be used in trade. Why do you
Okay.
have it? If you have it and you know that a document is used in further in trade, you should be questioning that record each and every time you receive it,
Sure.
because it is
Mm-hmm.
used and embodied in trade. So that means that we have to come along and finish establishing it. If we finish establishing it, then that means
Mm-hmm.
it is established with the
Mm-hmm.
ed. So this is why they start off with if, because there's some people with common understanding who is not coming along and establishing that good. So it'll never be established in trade ever, because they don't come along and
Mm-hmm.
use the good. But you should. You should
If
establish
is, oh, I see the word
if
if,
if
if.
you could be left out because you have common understanding and not knowledge.
If it is established.
If you have the knowledge, then you're going to be establishing that good, and it will be established by law for something that is used in trade.
Mm,
But not if that's not your interpretation. Not if that's not your mindset. Not if that's not why the reason why you created the contract with another person. This is why you
mm,
have Article 1, so that they give you your interpretation and the rules and around it.
mm-hmm, So if you establish it by questioning it, like you say, questioning the balance and then completing it, only if you do
Then now
that,
you're dealing with the document. And you should be dealing with
then
it because it is fairly regarded for you to actually deal with it for a particular transaction and trade. If you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to have due diligence and have knowledge for a particular transaction. You don't have to. It's if you want to. So this is why a lot of people don't know. They don't know
So,
about dealing with their good. They get it and they object to it. They perform in other ways. They pay cash when they ask them not to.
so why is it saying that, okay, we're saying that, okay, it says if it's established that such a, if it is established that such a usage is embodied in trade, or will they mean similar code, similar record, I'm sorry, similar
Similar
record. Will they mean similar
because your
record?
billing statement because your billing statement is a similar record that is used in trade if you want to use it.
Embodied in trade code or similar records. So what do they mean? That's just one type, the
Yeah,
bill?
definitely one type, because when they receive it, it's going to change. They're going to be using it in trade. It's not going to be the same as the bill that was exchanged to you. It's going to be something new, something different, something that is embodied in trade. Your bill right now, when you receive it in the mail, that is not something that is usable in trade. Not until you come along and deal with it with actual knowledge.
Oh, you mean the way it's sent out blank and everything with nothing in it? That is okay. Similar record or similar record. So you're saying it changes even from when I do what I do to it is what you're saying.
Hmm.
I don't want to like think too hard into it, but maybe that's what I'm doing. But
No, that's what it is. It's going to change again if you establish it. If you don't, it's not. That's it. You don't use your bill, it won't go any further. It won't become anything else. You're going to pay for it.
interpretation of the record is a question of law. Once it gets to that point, okay, trade or similar record.
So lawfully, if you want to pay this way, then you're going to be making sure that you use your statement so that it can be utilized in trade by another.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So go
That's
ahead and
just
take the
okay. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this again too.
really, I kind of think we should stop here because we're not going to be finishing before my next appointment. So we really
Okay.
honestly should stop here.
Okay, so
That
stop.
way,
I just need to
yeah,
go back.
that way
Mm-hmm.
you can fully grasp A, B, and C,
Mm-hmm.
which is the
Mm-hmm.
performance, course of dealing, and usage of trade, then you will be, really ready to continue to D, E, and F and G.
Because if I try to do that without you, I'll be sitting up here. I mean, I'll go back and read it, but I don't know how much, you know what I'm
But
saying?
go ahead without me too. Go on without me. We're definitely going to continue, but go on without me. Give it a try.
And just see how I make, because you see how these words are so mumble jumbled in there. I mean, it's not mumble, they're just in here